My name is Jace. Today I want to tell you my story about what it took to finally walk away from someone who made me feel like nothing. Before we begin, please subscribe to the channel and comment below where you're watching from. You're nothing special. Don't forget it. That's what Alina told me as she sat across the kitchen table, casually texting her ex, Drew. I was 30, working as a site lead technician for Iron Line Systems in Oak Ridge. Alina and I had been together for 4 years. I'd asked a simple question, why Drew kept messaging her about unfinished business. Her response wasn't just dismissive, it was designed to cut deep. She didn't even glance up, just said it, flatly. "You're right," I muttered, keeping my voice even. "I'll try to remember that." Something inside me snapped, not with anger, but with understanding. Alina had looked down on me before, but this was something else. It felt like a moment I should have seen coming. She let out a quick laugh and kept typing. "Stop being dramatic. Drew's just a friend." Her fingers flew across her screen, replying to messages I wasn't allowed to read. The apartment suddenly felt too small. I thought back on 4 years of being corrected. How I dressed, how I spoke, how I even held a fork. 4 years of being told I was lucky to have her. "I'm going out for a drive," I said. "Whatever. Pick up almond milk." I grabbed my keys and walked out. I didn't need air. I needed space. Sitting in my truck, I found myself thinking about Naomi, Alina's cousin. At family events, whenever Alina made one of her little jabs, Naomi would glance over like she felt sorry for me. Once, during Elaine's anniversary dinner, Naomi had pulled me aside. "You don't deserve the way she talks to you," she'd whispered. I brushed it off then, thought it was just family loyalty. But that night in the truck, I realized Naomi had been the only one in that circle who treated me like a person. My phone buzzed, a message from Alina. "And get the almond milk, not the cheap stuff." I stared at it for a full minute, then deleted it. I didn't go to the store. I drove to a hardware shop instead, not because I needed anything, but because I could. When I got home a few hours later, Alina was asleep on the couch. I stood there just watching her, and for the first time in a long while, I felt absolutely nothing. No love, no frustration, no guilt. Just silence inside. In the kitchen, I pulled out a scrap of paper and wrote down Naomi's number. I'd memorized it months ago, back when I still cared about being invited to family plans. Tomorrow, I thought, I'll use it. Alina and I had met at a bar in Brookhill when I was 26. She was finishing her degree in marketing. She was bold, clever, and knew how to hold attention. I was just starting to make decent money after struggling through my early 20s. She came on strong, visited job sites with coffee, flooded my phone with texts. At first I felt chosen. Looking back now, I think I was just another thing she wanted to control. The changes came slowly. She didn't like my coworkers, said they were rough around the edges. She picked out new clothes for me, said my old stuff made her feel embarrassed in public. When I got promoted to site lead, she rolled her eyes. "Try not to get cocky. It's still just manual labor." Her family events were worse. Her parents, Samuel and Elaine, ran 3 furniture shops across Oak Ridge. They'd ask about my work, nod politely when I answered, and shift the conversation. Alina never spoke up for me. If anything, she joined in the quiet digs. But Naomi didn't. She was 27 and taught at an elementary school in Silver Point. She'd actually ask real questions. When I talked about rewiring the Elm Ridge Municipal Center, she listened, really listened. When Samuel mocked my job at Easter dinner, Naomi redirected the conversation. "Jace fixed my garbage disposal last month," she said. "Saved me $300. Did a better job than any company I've ever hired." Alina gave her a sharp look. "He likes helping people," Naomi added, gently. Across the table, her smile reached me in a way I couldn't explain. Meanwhile, things with Alina kept slipping. She started going out without me. When I asked, she said, "You just feel out of place." She criticized everything. How I loaded the dishwasher, how I spoke, even how I drove. And all the while, Drew kept texting. Drew started messaging Alina about 7 months ago. When I asked about it, she got defensive right away. He's going through a divorce, she said. I'm just trying to help. But her phone never left her side after that. She'd take calls in the bathroom, flip her screen face down anytime I walked by. Then came the line that stung more than she realized. Drew respects my advice. He actually listens. The message was clear. Unlike me. That night, after she called me nothing special, I saw the pattern. She'd been leading up to this moment for months. The next morning, she left for work without a word. I called in sick to Iron Line Systems, the first time I'd done that in over 2 years, and sat at the kitchen table, staring at the number I'd written the night before. Naomi's. It felt ridiculous. Reaching out to my fiancée's cousin just because I was feeling low. But Naomi had once told me I didn't deserve the way Alina treated me. Nobody else ever had. Not once in 4 years had anyone suggested I was worth more than what I'd settled for. Before I could change my mind, I dialed. "Jace?" she answered, surprised. "Is everything okay?" "I need to ask you something," I said. "And I need you to be honest." There was a pause. Then, softly, "Okay. Do you think Alina loves me?" Another long silence. So long I thought she'd hung up. "Can we meet somewhere?" she finally asked. "This isn't a phone conversation." We agreed on a book cafe in Silver Point, about halfway between our jobs. Naomi arrived in a light green blouse, nervous but composed. She sat down, folding her hands neatly. "She told me what she said to you," she began. My stomach dropped. "She told you?" Naomi nodded. "She laughed about it. Said you didn't even argue." Her voice lowered. "That's not normal, Jace. People who care don't say things like that." Something cracked open in my chest. I've been wondering if I'm just being too sensitive. "You're not," she said, reaching across the table and gently touching my hand. "Alina's been deliberately hurtful since we were kids. She makes people feel like they deserve it." I looked down at our hands. Hers felt warm, gentle, not like Alina's cold politeness. "I've been thinking about leaving," I said quietly. "You should," she replied right away. "Honestly, you should have left a long time ago." She pulled her hand back, cheeks flushed. "Sorry. I didn't mean..." "Don't apologize." I looked at her, really looked, and saw something I'd ignored for too long. "Can I ask one more thing?" She nodded. "Would you have dinner with me? Just us, not as a family." Naomi smiled, soft, real, and for the first time in months, I could breathe. That night, I returned home carrying something new. Not anger, clarity. Alina was on the couch, giggling into her phone. When she noticed me, she ended the call. "Gotta go, Jace is home." She looked up. "Where's the almond milk?" I forgot. Her expression darkened. "I specifically said..." "We need to talk," I said, cutting her off. She blinked, not used to that. "About Drew, about how you treat me, about everything." She set her phone aside slowly. "Let me guess. You've been thinking all day about last night and now want some big relationship talk? I want you to stop talking to Drew." She laughed. Actually, I laughed. "Excuse me? I'm not okay with the constant messages and private calls. That's not how an engaged couple treats each other. Drew's my friend. I'm not dropping him just because you're insecure." "It's not insecurity. It's exactly that." She stood, arms crossed. "This is your pattern. You're threatened by everything. Drew has a great job at a boutique litigation agency. He drives a luxury sedan and he owns a house in Brook Hill. Of course, you're uncomfortable." The jab hit where she wanted, but instead of shame, I felt something solid settle in me. "You're right," I said. "I am uncomfortable. Not because of Drew's money, though." "Then why?" "Because my fiancé is emotionally cheating and acting like I'm crazy for noticing." Alina's face turned emotionally detached. Emotional cheating? That's ridiculous. Is it? I asked. When was the last time you laughed at something I said? Or took a call from me in front of others? Or stood up for me? Ever? I don't need to defend you. Yes, you do. That's what love looks like. She stared at me, then smiled, and it was the coldest expression I'd ever seen on her. You want the truth? She said. Drew asked me to move in. He wants me there when the divorce is final. I told him I was engaged, but honestly, I think I made a mistake. 6 months ago, those words would have broken me. Now, they brought relief. So you are cheating. I'm keeping my options open, she said, calm as ever. Exactly what someone should do when they're stuck with a guy who'll never be more than an electrician. There's nothing wrong with being an electrician. Sure, if you're okay with mediocrity, but I'm not. Alina glanced back down at her phone, still smiling. Drew respects drive and success, she said. He values intelligence. He wants someone with real ambition, not someone who fixes things for hourly wages. I stood frozen, letting those words land. 4 years of slow insults had led to this. She was finally saying out loud what she really thought of me. I'm staying at my brother's tonight, I said quietly. Good, she muttered. I'll call Drew. At the door, I paused. By the way, I had coffee with Naomi today. She blinked. Why? She thinks I deserve better. Alina's jaw clenched. Naomi knows nothing about relationships. She's been single for 2 years. Maybe she's just been waiting for the right person. I left before she could say anything else. In my truck, I called Naomi. How'd it go? She asked. Exactly like you said it would, I replied, starting the engine. She picked Drew. I'm sorry, Jace. Don't be, I said. This might be the best thing that ever happened. My brother Eli lived in a duplex in Brenton Hills. He opened the door, took one look at me, and handed me a beer. Alina? I nodded, told him everything. He listened in silence, his face growing darker with each detail. She's been laying the groundwork for this for months, he said when I finished. All the comments, the way she made you feel small. She was softening the blow so you'd just accept being replaced. Why not just end things? Because she wanted a safety net. If Drew didn't work out, she'd still have you waiting around. Eli took a long drink and sighed. I never said anything about your relationships before. But this woman, she's poisonous. The next morning, Naomi texted me. How are you doing? I didn't reply. I called. Can we meet again? I asked. There's something I need to talk about. We met at the same book cafe in Silver Point. Naomi looked anxious. Alina called me last night, she said as soon as I sat down. She told me you're having some kind of breakdown, that you accused her of cheating and stormed out. I leaned back. She really said that? She wants me to talk you down, remind you how lucky you are to be with her. Naomi's voice shifted. She also said you crossed a line, that calling me behind her back was inappropriate. 8. That I should be careful. I felt my chest tighten. She was trying to turn Naomi and her entire family against me before I had a chance to explain. Naomi, I said gently, I need you to trust me. Answer one question honestly. She nodded. Has Alina always been this way? Naomi hesitated, then slowly nodded. When she was 15, she dated a guy named Josh. Sweet kid, worked with his dad at a local auto shop, played guitar. What happened? She teased him constantly, his clothes, his car, even his family. Then one day she shows up at a family event with Logan Pierce, you know, the real estate heir from Brookhill. She cheated. Everyone said so. She never denied it. Just dumped Josh over text. Naomi looked down at her hands. My Aunt Elaine was thrilled. Kept saying Alina had upgraded. Everything clicked into place. This is a pattern, I said. Naomi nodded again. She picks decent guys, keeps them around until she finds someone better, then tosses them aside in the most deliberately hurtful way possible. and the family lets her get away with it. But Drew's still married. Doesn't matter to her. In her mind, the divorce means she already won. She looked straight at me. Chase, I've seen her do this 3 times now. Each time she gets a little worse. Why didn't you say something? I tried. Remember that past winter? When I told you you looked tired? I was hoping you'd open up. But you just said you were working overtime. She reached across the table again. I've wanted to say something for 2 years. But how do you tell your cousin's fiancée she's toxic? You could have told me I deserved better. I did. At Alina's birthday dinner. I paused. You did. I just wasn't ready to hear it. Naomi gave a small, sad smile. Are you ready now? I'm ready for a lot of things. The next week was silent between me and Alina. She stayed out late, took her calls in the bedroom. I stayed on the couch, counting days until I could leave. But Naomi and I talked daily. Coffee turned to lunch. We shared more. She told me about her students, her dream of becoming an education program director one day. I told her about the work I was doing at Elmwood Heritage Hall, how restoring it made me feel like I was part of something bigger. One thing I never understood, she said one afternoon, is why Alina never asked about your work. She thought it was boring, I said. Naomi shook her head. It's not. You light up when you talk about it. You should see your face when you explain how the original wiring system was hidden behind that mural. Something was building between us. Quiet, steady, real. There was something about Naomi that I'd never experienced with Alina. Real respect, real warmth, laughter that didn't come at someone else's expense. I looked at her across the table. Naomi, I need to tell you something. She nodded. I think I'm falling for you. I know the timing is awful and I know it's complicated, but I had to say it. She didn't answer right away. The pause stretched long enough that I regretted saying anything at all. Then, finally, I've had feelings for you since the first family dinner you came to. Alina introduced you as her boyfriend, and I remember thinking, she doesn't deserve him. Why didn't you say anything? Because you were with my cousin, and I thought you loved her, and I told myself I was just lonely. I smiled a little. You weren't lonely. You were just waiting. Naomi met my eyes. For someone like you. So what do we do about Alina? We tell the truth, she said. She'll be furious, but she made her choice when she picked Drew. She'll say we had an affair. Let her. The people who know us will understand. The rest doesn't matter. The family's annual summer gathering was set for that weekend at Elaine and Samuel's estate in Aspen Heights. It was a big event. Relatives from all over came to celebrate Elaine's birthday and swap gossip. Alina had been excited to flash her promise bracelet, talk about wedding dates, brag about her future with Drew. She'll expect you to go with her, Naomi said. I've got a better idea. That Friday night, while Alina was likely at Drew's place, I packed my things. I left the bracelet on the kitchen counter with a note. You were right. I am nothing special. To you. I hope Drew makes you happy. The next morning, I picked up Naomi. She wore a navy wrap dress that made her eyes look like open sky. When she smiled, I felt something I never had with Alina. Peace. Are you nervous? She asked as we drove. Terrified, I admitted, but also ready. Alina's going to lose it. Good. Maybe it's time everyone saw the real her. Naomi laughed. My family's going to be stunned. Some of them, but I think a few have been waiting for this. We pulled into the estate right at 2:00 p.m. Through the front window, I saw Alina in the center of the room, holding court, likely spinning stories about her successful new boyfriend and her bright future. She didn't know what was coming. Ready? Naomi asked, taking my hand. Ready. Alina saw us through the window before we even reached the door. Her face twisted. First confusion, then disbelief, then pure rage. By the time Elaine opened the door, Alina was already pushing through the crowd. "What is this?" she demanded, eyes darting between me and Naomi. "What are you doing here?" "Hi, Alina," I said calmly. "Naomi invited me." "Invited you? You're my fiancé." "Actually, I'm not," I replied, voice steady. "Check your kitchen counter." Her face drained. She fumbled for her phone, probably texting someone to confirm. Then she raised her voice so the whole room could hear. "You left me for my cousin?" "I never cheated," I said. "Can you say the same?" Samuel stepped forward. "What's going on?" "Alina's been involved with Drew for months," Naomi said clearly. "She told Jace he was nothing special, so he walked away." "That's not," Alina started. "Drew's still married, isn't he?" Elaine cut in sharply. Silence. Alina looked around, realizing she'd lost the narrative. "His divorce is almost final," she mumbled. "So you've been seeing a married man," said Uncle Ray, "while engaged?" "It's not like that." "It's exactly like that," Naomi snapped. "And it's not even the first time. Remember Josh or Eric from college?" Alina's eyes flicked from face to face, hoping someone would defend her. They didn't. "At least Drew has ambition," she said finally, her voice desperate. "He's not just some electrician." The contempt hit like a slap. But I saw the way the others reacted, not with support, but with judgment. "Jace is a good man," Naomi's mother said softly. "Always respectful and kind. He fixed our garage door last fall," added Uncle Ray. "Didn't charge a dime." "He's helped nearly everyone here," Elaine said, looking disappointed, "and never once bragged about it." Alina froze. Her entire persona was unraveling in real time. The people she thought would take her side were seeing her for who she really was. Within 6 months, the full truth surfaced. Drew's wife found their messages. He lost his partnership at the boutique litigation agency and half his assets in the divorce. Alina got fired after the scandal hit her company. Apparently, dating a married client broke HR policy. She moved back in with Elaine and Samuel and spent months trying to salvage her image. But Oak Ridge isn't that big, and people talk. Friends started distancing themselves one by one. She finally understood what it felt like to be truly replaceable. Naomi and I took things slow. We dated right, built something real. A year later, I proposed at the same book cafe where she once told me I deserved better. She said yes before I even finished as king. A couple of years after that, we got married. Elaine cried at the ceremony. Happy tears, she promised. Elaine wiped away tears during our wedding and smiled. Happy tears, she whispered, squeezing my hand. Samuel walked Naomi down the aisle and gave me a look I'll never forget. You're the son-in-law I always hoped for, he said. Even Alina came. She brought a new boyfriend, some guy she'd met online. She kept to herself, quiet and reserved. No long speeches, no attention-grabbing smiles. Just a woman who finally realized some damage can't be undone. Eli stood beside me as my best man. During his speech, he raised a glass and said, "Sometimes the best thing that can happen to a man is losing something he thought he needed, so he can find what he truly deserves." Naomi teaches 3rd grade now. She talks about her students like they're her own kids. She wants to become an education program director someday, and I believe she will. As for me, I left Iron Line Systems and started my own electrical contracting company. We bought a place in Silver Point, a small house with a workshop in the garage and just enough room for the future we're building together. Alina was right about one thing. I was replaceable, in her world, but she was wrong about what that meant. It didn't make me small. It didn't break me. It made me free. Free to choose someone who sees my value, someone who listens, laughs with me, and never makes me feel like I'm not enough. Turns out, the best revenge isn't getting even. It's getting peaceful. That was my story, and it still sits with me, like a quiet reminder of who I used to be and who I became. If you've ever felt overlooked, undervalued, or stuck in a relationship that made you feel small, tell me in the comments, what would you have done in my place? And if this story made you think even for a moment, hit subscribe. There's always another story coming. And maybe, just maybe, it'll be the one that speaks directly to you.